stop. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Training Camp Live, presented by Atlantic Health System.
Welcome to Training Camp Live, presented by Atlantic Health System. The Jets are back at MetLife Stadium for the first time since December 22nd, 2019. Eric Allen, Ethan Greenberg here in the BetMGM studio. We'll hear from Olivia Landis later in the show. And EA, it is good to see MetLife Stadium once again.
Your eyes don't deceive you, though. That is new turf at MetLife Stadium. The Jets are holding a practice there today, and we are 2 weeks out from the regular season opener. The Jets, of course, in Buffalo, and 3 weeks out from the green and white hosting the San Francisco 49ers in week 2 at the aforementioned MetLife Stadium. First time and only time this summer the Jets will be at their home building.
Sam Ficken right there in the spotlight white up top, the Gotham green pants. That leads us to today's headline presented by JetBlue, which is exactly what you said. The Jets are back at MetLife Stadium for their annual green and white practice. But not only are the Jets on the field, it provides them an opportunity to work out some kinks logistically.
There's no doubt about that. Listen, all the social distancing guidelines, you have to take the team there, and they have to go through getting ready, getting into the locker rooms, coming out. Also, Adam Gase talked about, hey, we have a lot of rookies on our roster. They got to get the feel just coming out after a halftime setting, because in college, you have a much longer halftime than in the National Football League. But typically, you are at MetLife Stadium 3 times during the preseason, because the Jets and the Giants have the annual exhibition rivalry. That won't happen this year, of course. So we saw the Giants have a scrimmage there. The Jets actually scrimmaged at One Jets Drive on Wednesday. Adam Gase said this will be more practice-like conditions, but you're going to see the first team against the second team at times. You're going to see the second team versus the third team at times in team periods.
You know, I'm just looking at the turf. It really does look good. I really can't keep my eyes off the turf. It almost looks fake right now. And, of course, the end zones are split Jets-Giants. But if you look at the Jets end zone, it looks really good with the new green.
It looks great, and we miss everybody. The bottom line is typically during the summer you would have an open practice at MetLife Stadium. And it's just not the same without the green and white faithful. But as the world continues to combat this invisible enemy, COVID-19, you have to take every precaution, and that means the Jets won't be playing or practicing in front of their fans for the near future. Hopefully that turns at some point as we see the wide receivers on the field, and impressive rookie Ashton Davis as well in the end zone with another impressive rookie. Well, Michael Pirine was running all over the place on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about those guys in a bit. And the two guys that we saw before, Chris Hogan and Jamison Crowder, those two guys on Wednesday actually each lost a fumble in the first scrimmage. And you mentioned it, the Jets scrimmaged on this past Wednesday. So what should we be looking for in the green and white practice when the first team offense does go up against the second team defense in more of a game-like situation?
Well, Adam Gase said there's a lot to clean up. There are a lot of things to fix. You mentioned the first team offense. Ashton Davis had an interception of Sam Darnold, and Adam Gase blamed himself for the play. He said, I didn't really give Darnold much of a chance, but that guy right there was Johnny on the spot, stepping into an errant throw by Darnold. There's normally sure-handed Jamison Crowder. He lost a fumble late in practice, as did Chris Hogan, and Chris Hogan's done some very good things for the Jets here early in training camp. On the other side of the ball, defensively, Gase talked about the defense giving up too many explosion plays. Pirine had close to an 80-yard touchdown where Bradley McDougald said, we took a wrong gap in there, and he's got to have better communication because he is the last guy, last line of defense when he's playing single high safety. Pirine got free, and to his credit, nobody chased him down. Nobody was able to take an angle on him. So first team offense, you want to clean up the turnovers, because if you're -3 turnover differential in the National Football League, you're probably going home with the loss. And then
What about the defense, though? I feel like rightfully so we talk about the offense,
Yeah.
good or bad, but I feel like this is an opportunity that we should talk about the defense because this unit was a top 10 group last season, and of course they're now without Jamal Adams and C.J. Mosley. What did you see from them on Wednesday, and what are you hoping to see today?
Well, that's a staple of Greg Williams. We are going to come and get the football, and they certainly did that during that first scrimmage, and those are the kind of characteristics you want of that unit. You mentioned 7th overall in terms of yards allowed, but if you start getting up with the turnovers, the takeaways, that's going to change the entire dynamic for this football team because you're going to give your offense short fields. One of those takeaways came deep inside opposition territory. That was the Hogan fumble. So it's something that continually is preached by Greg Williams that we have to get the football away. In fact, after completions, incompletions on the field, the defense is running after and saying, that's my ball. Mm-hmm. No ball is on the ground without the defense getting after it. That's always been a trademark of a Greg Williams defense.
That is also very much so a Greg Williams staple. And I know the Jets are practicing, but much of this week's center of attention has come from what's happened off the field, especially with the New York Jets. And for more on that, let's bring in team reporter Olivia Landis for our Field Pass presented by Toyota. Liv, what can you tell us about the discussions the Jets have had internally about social injustice?
Ethan, EA, thank you, and good morning. Yeah, like you said, Thursday's practice was actually instead used as a time for all of the players, coaches, and ownership to come together and discuss some of the social injustices that Black people face in this country today. The players used this time to share stories, feelings, and perspectives, and share some of the things that they've been through. And really, it was a great time for the players to come together and hear one another. And two players that actually spoke on it, offensive lineman Jonathan Harrison and quarterback Sam Darnold, both spoke to the media yesterday, and they talked about what some of those discussions entailed. Quarterback Sam Darnold, who acknowledged that he is a young white male who grew up in Orange County, California, which is predominantly a white community, said that these discussions were very valuable and eye-opening for him. He said to hear some of the stories that his teammates and, players, coaches, some of these people that he truly loves and respects, to hear some of the things that they went through, he said it was eye-opening. But both Jonathan Harrison and quarterback Sam Darnold left their medias on a very positive note. They said they want to use their NFL platform to spur action and effectuate change, and they both think that the team can get it done.
Liv, I just wanted to ask you, you had an opportunity to speak to Jonathan Harrison one-on-one, and there's Jamison Crowder. Jamison talked about the other day being pulled over when he was in college just because of the car he was driving. So when you had the opportunity to speak to Jonathan, something that stood out to me said, we have too powerful a platform not to use it. We're being extra cautious to not be misconstrued as attacking anything. We're just seeking change. Is that the feel you got from him after you left that interview, that, hey, we're looking at this as there are things that we have to help society out with, and we want to be part of the solution?
That's absolutely the vibe that I got from Jonathan Harrison when I spoke to him yesterday. And just to reiterate what you said, he said that the team does not want to be misconstrued. Their message doesn't want to be unclear in any way, shape, or form. He said that this team, these players, this ownership, the coaches, they want to come together and be able to make change. He said they acknowledge some of the things that are going on in this world. And like the message that the Jets put out just recently, he said enough is enough. But like you said, he doesn't want to be misconstrued. He doesn't want people to think they're skipping practice, anything like that. They're really utilizing this time to come together as a team, share stories, exchange ideas, and move forward to make more social justice progress.
Yeah, it's a tight-knit group, Greens.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thanks, Liv. We'll check in with you later on in the show. That leads us to our injury report presented by Atlantic Health System. Still a bit of a long list here. The good news is that one guy, Brian Poole, seems to be nearing a return as the Jets only now a couple weeks away from their season opener at Buffalo.
Yeah, and that's the latest injury that happened. The last guy in that list, Jeff Smith, suffered a shoulder injury in 7-on-7 work on Saturday. So there is Sam Darnold. He's working with 6 healthy receivers right now. But while we transition to Darnold, I do want to add that you mentioned Poole. Bottom line is he was moving around really well on Saturday, has the helmet on, backpedaling, going through defensive back drills. Adam Gase said, I believe we're really close to the next step, which means individual drills, and then hopefully you get Brian Poole back to team activities real soon.
So what does this mean, though, with going back to Jeff Smith for a minute? You said the Jets practiced with 6 receivers yesterday. Yeah. It was reported that the Jets have added Dante Moncrief, who needs to pass all the COVID protocols before he's able to set foot in the building. But what does that do for that man right there, Sam Darnold, who has been dealing with a number of injuries on the outside from the get, like Denzel Mims, and then throughout training camp when you think of guys like Brashad Perriman and Lawrence Cager?
You know, Adam Gase talked about it, and he said that he's going to go to his go-to guys, right? And who are his go-to guys? Well, we know Chris Herndon, back in the fold, healthy this year, and Jamison Crowder. They're the guy right there. Braxton Berrios, don't sleep on him either. He's had a very good camp. Crowder led the team in receptions and receiving yards last year. When I look at the Jets' offense right now, yes, they're dealing with a lot of injuries on the outside. Dante Moncrief, if he's able to pass those COVID-19 tests and then his physical, he'll join this group. But guys like Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, Jamison Crowder, and then you're hoping Brashad Perriman gets back in the mix, Denzel Mims, and the list goes on. But you're talking about the Jets, they can throw the ball to their tight ends and their running backs. Herndon leads the way. Ryan Griffin, part of this offense in a big way last year, 5 touchdown catches. Trayvon Wesco has had a tremendous camp. This guy right here likes throwing the ball to his tight ends. Every running back on this roster, they can make plays out of the backfield. Le'Veon Bell, it's like having an extra receiver. Frank Gore, so many accomplishments during his NFL career. Well, Michael Pirine has opened my eyes continually out here, not just by running the football, but him catching the ball out of the backfield. And then you have guys who can work the middle of the field, notably Crowder, but Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, and then let's see if you can get those explosive guys on the outside back sooner than later. Moncrief can run. Coming out in 2014, he was a 4.4 guy. Denzel Mims, of course, we know he's a sub 4.4 guy, and Brashad Perriman as well. He's dealing with a knee injury right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in terms of injuries and when these players will come back. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Adam Gase did said that he hopes that they come back by bunches and expects that to be the case. But let's just talk about the tight ends here for a minute, because to your point, last season Chris Herndon did not play, right? And then there's Ryan Griffin, who took all the first-team reps with tight end in lieu of Herndon. He had a career year in terms of receiving touchdowns. So to have him healthy, along with Herndon, along with Le'Veon Bell, who you said is an extra receiver, how do you envision this offense looking in week 1 and in the early portions of the season if there are still a decent amount of injuries on the outside?
I just think that you're 2 or 3 guys that you figure are going to get a lot of touches out here are Herndon, Crowder, Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase likes to use his running backs, and he continues to stress that he wants Le'Veon Bell healthy for 16-plus games. So that means he pointed the finger at himself early last year for maybe not putting Le'Veon Bell in advantageous positions. But the Jets, even though they are dealing with a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, I still think you can have a lot of numbers in terms of ball distribution, because there's guys out here who can make plays. And, you know, I'm not comparing this offense to New England back in the day when they favored throwing to the tight ends and the running backs out of the backfield and work in the middle of the field. But you can see this developing here. And down the line, you're able to pick these guys up. Hopefully Brashad Perriman is back sooner than later, and then we'll have to see what happens with Denzel Mims, because he's got that size-speed combination. He's a burner. You put both of those guys down on the field, they can stretch the field. The great thing about Herndon is that from the tight end position, He can stretch the field. You have to account for him. And he can open some things up underneath. I think one of the things that is flying under the radar, we talked about it earlier in training camp, it's the guys who are in front of Sam Darnold. It's that offensive line. The revamped offensive line has been very good early in camp.
All right, well, let's take a look.
It's not even early in camp anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's early in camp, but at the same time, camp is over because of everything that's going on right now in the world, and we'll see what happens between now, the green and white practice, and week 1 in Buffalo, 2 weeks away. Now let's head to our top 5. This week's topic, the top 5 players or topics that we're looking forward, myself, EA, and Olivia, looking at in this green and white practice. And let's start with number 5. Would it be training camp without a kicking competition? And Brant Boyer said that he's going to place more emphasis on the scrimmages and more game-like situations, including today, EA.
Yeah, it's the only time under the lights, even though the lights probably won't be on in MetLife. You don't have to have them on. But, yeah, Brett Maher's got the monster leg. We know he can hit it from 60-plus yards out in terms of field goals. Sam Ficken played very well for this team. We think about the game winner against the Miami Dolphins last year in a high-pressurized situation, a 44-yarder, I believe. So this is their only time to put their best foot forward, no pun intended, here at MetLife Stadium.
All right, I like that one. Brant Boyer said that they're neck and neck right now, meaning Sam Ficken and Brett Maher.
Foot and foot.
Foot and foot, even better. Okay. Number 4 on the list, players that we're looking forward to. Olivia, I'm going to you. Avery Williamson has a very big role in this defense, and he's recently taken some first-team reps.
I think it's just exciting to see Avery Williamson on the field at all after a year off from that ACL tear that, left him out that entire 2019 season. So for him to be back, he's taken some reps with the first team. That is very good news, especially in that linebacker group. After losing C.J. Mosley this season, he opted out of the season. It's good news to have Avery Williamson back. I cannot wait to see what he does.
Avery Williamson led the team in tackles in 2018. Going to play that Mike linebacker role for the Jets, or expected to moving forward. Number 3, top 5 players or topics who we're looking forward to, the rookies, EA. You mentioned LaMichael Pirine and Ashton Davis, but they've been a pretty impressive group so far here throughout training camp.
Yeah, and we talked about the kickers before, too. Braden Mann, the first opportunity to punt at MetLife Stadium. But Pirine has opened eyes, I think, at camp. The Jets knew how good he was, and that's why they took him in the 4th round. But you watch him out there every day, and he is just so impressive. A natural receiver out of the backfield, a tough runner, and he doesn't play to his time speed. Ashton Davis, gives you the potential to line up a lot of free safety looks in Greg Williams' defense, and he is a guy who is tough. He's around the ball all the time. He's absorbing Greg Williams' defense, and we saw the other day that he came up with the turnover. So Ashton Davis is a guy who looks to be a keeper, and I think he is a guy that we're going to watch today, but I think you're going to see him having even more of a prominent role as we go throughout the season.
And, of course, this is Mekhi Becton's first time at MetLife Stadium. All right, number 2, going back to the offensive side of the ball here, tight end Chris Herndon, been impressive all throughout training camp. What do you expect from him today, Liv?
Chris Herndon, we talked about the tight end group a couple of shows ago, but this tight end group as a whole, very, very talented, especially with Ryan Griffin back. But Chris Herndon, he is the rookie who 2 years ago impressed so much. He was a very large part of the offense. He's so multi-talented. That's what head coach Adam Gase talks a lot about this tight end group, that they can really do it all. But to have Chris Herndon finally back for a full season, he's healthy, he dominated his rookie season. I think we're going to see a lot of good things out of him this year.
And this is as close as it's going to get for Herndon, EA, in terms of game reps after a season that was essentially lost in 2019.
Every practice, 89's around the football. 14 goes back to throw, and you're thinking, wow, you close your eyes and you're wondering, who is it, 82 or 89? So Chris Herndon, he looks very good, and again, he just gives you an extra dimension offensively.
Let's wrap things up in our top 5, staying on the offensive side of the ball, should I say. You mentioned number 14. Have to talk about Sam Darnold. Had an interception in Wednesday's scrimmage. his offensive unit turned the ball over 3 total times. What are you expecting from him at MetLife Stadium Sunday?
You just want to clean up you want to clean up the turnovers. The bottom line is you don't want to see any interceptions, and you want the group to protect the football, and you want to see the Jets offensively sustain some drives, move the ball, and just get ready for the regular season, because Greg Williams has helped big time this offense, because he continues to show Sam Darnold and company different looks along the way. But while he is dealing with a lot of things on the outside, he's been unflappable, been very steady. So let's just see if the first team offense can have a little bit of a bounce back day so they feel good about themselves. Heading into Buffalo, you're playing a totally different defense. And that, by the way, in that scrum of players right there, Brian Poole out there with the helmet again.
All right, there we have it. Liv, right before we wrap up here, what are you hoping to see out of this team today, not necessarily Sam Darnold?
The team as a whole in today's, I guess, scrimmage/practice, I really just want to see the offense move the ball down the field. I want to see them do it efficiently, because we've seen the defense have a lot of highlights so far during this training camp, but I want to see quarterback Sam Darnold and the offense really take charge and make some progress. I think if they can do that, there are good things to come in Buffalo.
What do you think about Sam Darnold's beard? I'm asking you, Green.
I-
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's coming in nice. I think he's letting it grow out before a pre-week 1 cleanup in terms of the hair and the beard. Right there, you see Mekhi Becton, number 77, his first time at MetLife Stadium, rocking the spotlight white. All right, that's all we have here on Training Camp Live, presented by Atlantic Health System. Sam Darnold says goodbye, even though he's at MetLife Stadium. EA, Olivia, and myself, we'll see you next week, and make sure to tune in to SNY tomorrow for an exclusive airing of the green and white practice.